How's it going, everybody?
Awesome.
There's a lot of people with questions, so this is going to be fun. I'm Young Woo. I'm senior producer on the team.
Hey guys, I'm Matt Place, the senior designer on Hearthstone.
Hey everyone, Mike Donay. I'm a game designer on Hearthstone.
I'm Peter Whalen. I'm also a game designer on Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so, greetings. I'm Ben Bro. No, he's not here right now. Sorry.
That was pretty good, Young.
I've been practicing.
You can pretend.
I forgot to wear flannel. I guess, Mike, you're representing.
Yeah, I got his jacket on. You can buy this in the store.
He's not joking, that's real.
You too can be Ben Broed for... No.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah, we're getting pitched here.
I think there's a line somewhere.
Well, I think there are lines back there where these nice gentlemen will get the situation sorted out.
In the meantime, I'll tell you that Ben Brode's new baby is really cute. He's at home taking care of it right now.
Broed, if you're watching this, we got this.
Our first question.
All right, so your co-op content really is the bee's knees. Am I right, guys? The co-op brawls, right?
Awesome.
Right?
Oh yeah, co-op brawls.
Is there any plans for more dedicated co-op content?
Co-op
Yep.
mode's awesome. It's one of the things that we really enjoy. We've liked the way that we've been able to put it in the game. We've tried a couple of different things. But yeah, it's something that we've been exploring a lot. We've talked in a couple of different contexts about how can we make some more co-op stuff, how can we make it easier for you to play with your friends. One of the things we tried to do was add the play against a friend quest so that you can get gold for playing against one of your friends. It's one of the daily quests that shows up. And so that's really cool. That's a nice way to do it. But yeah, more co-op modes, more ways to play co-op with other people is great.
Thank you.
Hey, so I'm happy Hearthstone is getting so much love, but at the same time, there's a big aspect of Hearthstone, which is arena, right? And I feel like since the buff from 9 to 12, which is not really a buff, but there hasn't been much changes, and there could be a lot of good things that come to it, like there could be formats, you already did that for Standard, and I've got a couple of good ideas, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of good ideas, but is there plans for it to change soon, or are we gonna have to wait, a ton of time before we get some cool new arena stuff?
Yeah, arena is one of the parts of the game that we're really passionate about. One of the other designers on the team is incredibly interested in arena. He spends a lot of his time just working on how can we tune arena better so that the version that we have right now is as good as possible. We made some adjustments recently to some cards don't appear in arena, and we've recently gotten technologies so we can, on an individual card level, tune how frequently it appears. So if we want Gang Up to show up, every rogue pick, maybe we can do that. If we want Flame Strike to never show up, that's also an option. So we have a lot of options there for how we can tune things, but we're also interested in investigating like crazy arena ideas. What if when you pick a Murloc, all the rest of your picks are always Murlocs? What if you pick Ancient Watcher and you're always going to get Purify next? There are all kinds of crazy things that we could try out, and we're interested in seeing where we can go with it.
My name is Rob. Question for Young.
Rob, do you like your job?
I love my job, and I'm a real big fan of all of you. Question for Young. Young, how do you get so handsome every day?
Well, unfortunately, the second handsomest designer is Dean. He's not here.
And the
But
handsomest is Pat Nagel, and he's also
true.
not here.
So, I'm sorry, but we don't have the right person to answer that question.
Thanks. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.
Rob Wing, everybody.
Hi there. So you've been growing your lore a little bit with each of these expansions, and I was wondering if you plan to expand a little bit even further to maybe like short stories or other kinds of media with some of the lore that you're doing with this gadget stand setup, or other expansions.
Yeah, actually we're looking at exactly that, expanding with short stories and other ways to explore the lore that Hearthstone's kind of creating. That was a ton of the fun with Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, was taking something that was fun in World of Warcraft, right? Gadgets in, where we were hanging out and doing illicit stuff, right? Trading between Horde and Alliance, and blowing it out. And that was a ton of fun for Hearthstone to kind of dive in and create its own characters and setting. So yeah, we're excited to keep doing this and looking at new ways to do it. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good day there.
Closer.
How do you guys decide when it's time to implement new keyword mechanics like battle cry or discover or whatever?
With each expansion, we talk about a lot of new mechanics. We test out a whole bunch, and then we choose the ones that we like the best, and we decide, hey, does this new mechanic need a keyword or not? Sometimes you'll do a cool new mechanic, and it doesn't actually require a keyword. If you're only going to do it on like 6 cards or something, like Forbidden. Forbidden feels like a new mechanic, but it doesn't actually have a new word. We just put the word in the name of the cards, and that linked them up, and that was a good way to do it. So for each new mechanic, we decide what those are the things that we think about.
Lovely. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you think you're going to be adding a hero class such as Death Knight or Monk?
That's something we talk about a lot. We're really happy with the 9 classes that we've got right now. Each of them kind of has their own niche. So you've got druids who like ramping mana, you got warriors who build up tons of armor and then beat on people with their weapons. And we don't want to create a new class if it steals design space from the other classes that already exist and if it doesn't have an identity of its own. So it's something that we talk about, but right now we don't really have any plans for it. 9 classes is a ton, and it seems like there's a lot of space there to do everything that we want. So we're not that interested in trying something new with that.
Thank you.
Hey guys, how's it going? Big fan of you guys and appreciate all the work you guys do in dealing with the crap on Reddit. It's true, they deal with a lot.
We love Reddit. Just keep the passion coming. Woo!
Two quick
like 3
questions.
guys.
Is there any chance that you guys will allow players to earn previous season card backs that you missed, like seasons 1 and 2? And then one of my big achievements was getting rank 5 a couple times in the ladder, and then getting sent all the way back to like rank 18 kind of feels bad. Any chances on improving that?
Yeah, so, well, I'll answer the first question first. So, yeah, I think it's really special that players who have been playing since the beginning have access to some of these unique card backs. At the same time, we recognize that there are a lot of players who have joined us since who are really excited about getting some of these older, awesome card backs, like the Pandaren card back and maybe the New Year card back we did. So that's definitely something we're actively talking about. We don't have anything concrete to announce here, but know that it's something we understand and we're actively talking about. As for rank mode itself,
Yeah, you said like get to rank 5 and being sent back all the way. Something that we did originally was we wanted the system to be very simple and understandable. The idea that if you've earned 15 ranks, then you have 15 stars in the next season. So it's a direct translation. In your case, rank 5 means you gain 20 ranks, so you'll have 20 stars the next season. But after seeing it in action for a while, the direct translation isn't that important. Maybe it could be around 1.5 stars instead of 1 star for each rank you gained. So yeah, it's something that we talk about. We don't have any engineers working on it right now, but we're talking about doing it.
Well, thanks.
Hey, what's the chance on a Hearthstone API?
6.5.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any specific plans for releasing a Hearthstone API in the near future.
Hello.
Hi.
Year of the Kraken's almost going to end soon, so I'm wondering if you are happy with the current release schedule of two expansions and 1 adventure, and if you're not going to change that, I'm wondering if you're going to introduce any new cards into the Evergreen set.
Yeah, so those are things we talk about a lot. We're constantly evaluating what the best way to release cards is. Is it through expansions? Is it through adventures? Are there other opportunities? Someone a couple of days ago talked to me about maybe doing, a small card pack a month. Is that something that's interesting? So we're constantly talking about what are different things that we could possibly try. Right now, we're pretty happy with 2 expansions and an adventure as part of the standard season, as part of a standard year. So that's what we're planning on doing in the future, and we don't have any announcements to change anything right now. But it's definitely something that we're interested in, both changing it up within the realm that we've already done, but also trying totally new, crazy things.
Yeah, one thing we say very often is, Hearthstone is really a constant learning experience for us. So we don't want to ever say, yeah, we figured it out. This is the best way to do it, and we're going to do the exact same thing for the rest of our lives. I think we're going to keep learning more, and as we get feedback from you guys, we'll work on this together.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to talk a little bit about Arena and ask guys, you said you now have the technology and it's a mode you guys are very passionate about, but when, I guess, we're going to see some changes? Because then you guys release Firelands Portal in the Commons Law for Mage, and Mage become even more powerful. So you say you're very passionate, but we are not seeing it. So when are we going to see it?
Yeah, I think just for a little bit of clarification, we're building up a lot of infrastructure right now to build up the tool chain for designers to be able to manipulate some of that. It doesn't mean it's good to go live right now. So that's a work that's actively in progress. I know sometimes it can be frustrating because you can't see the work we're doing, in our office. But the work is in progress. We totally hear you guys. We don't have a timeline to announce right now.
Can you do a follow-up?
Thank you.
Greetings. I would like to ask something about design of the tri-class cards that we're all really excited about. So I want to know if those kind of design are mainly from the bottom or from the top, and how do you guys make sure that these cards are balanced and flavored at the same time? If possible, are we going to see other kinds of grouping and classification in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. Is it the balance issues, right? Now that this is not just relegated to 1 class, but 3 classes, what does that mean? And your other question, why did we make these, right? How do we come to these? A lot of it was to encompass these 3 families together, right? So we wanted Druid, who's part of Jade Lotus, not to just feel like, oh, I'm signing up for Druid, but I'm also signing up for Jade Lotus when you play Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. So once we start revealing more of these Jade Lotus cards, you guys get to see a lot of the new ways Shaman, Rogue, and Druid all get to play based on the Jade Lotus. And the tri-class cards are perfect for bringing that together. You guys probably saw yesterday, right? You get the Discover card tri-class that lets you, even if you're playing Druid, discover Rogue and Shaman cards. Then the bosses bring it together as well. So yeah, that was our goal, is to make it feel like, oh, I'm part of the Jade Lotus in addition to playing Druid.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi there. I was curious because you guys have talked in the past how some of Priest's cards can feel a little unfun to play against, and you guys were trying to explore more design space to see sort of what their identity is. I was curious because in Karazhan you pushed some more of this Resurrect archetype, and in what we've seen of Mean Streets, the cards all look very good, but they seem to be pushing Dragon or more like health and attack manipulation, which is something that the Paladin also has a lot of. So I was just curious, what you guys, have you guys landed on something you're looking at direction for more Priest archetypes, or how you guys sort of reach that conclusion, like where you guys are at now with the new set coming out?
Yeah, one of the things that we're thinking about is what kinds of different archetypes can we make for Priest? What are the least fun cards to play against? What are the more fun cards to play against? And what are the more fun cards to play for the different types of players? One of the things that we did specifically with the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and we showed off a few cards in each of these spaces, is work on 3 different archetypes. One of the 3 archetypes is the Dragon deck. It's a deck that a lot of people have wanted to work for a long time. It's been okay, it's been pretty good, but now maybe here's a chance to actually make it like one of the strong decks. Now you can have that fantasy of playing the Dragon deck and win with it. A second archetype that we're thinking about is the deck with no duplicates. People have tried out the Reno Priest deck before. Some people have had some success, but now we've shown off Kazakus. It reinforces and helps boost that. It's a really fun deck type. It plays a lot differently than other deck types because of all the variance cards. So that's 2 archetypes. The third one that we're thinking about is the tricky Priest deck with lots of spells and stuff like that. We've shown off Potion of Madness, which is the one that takes control of a 2 attack or less minion for the turn. It's a nice trick, but but it's not permanent loss of control of your minions. So we think it might be an okay space to try out in Priest. And another one that we've shown off is the pint-sized potion, which gives -3 attack to everybody. It's very cheap at 1 mana. It combos with a lot of Priest cards. So the sort of tricky, cheap spells, fun to play Priest. Hopefully one of those 3 archetypes appeal to each of the Priest players.
Sure, yeah.
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey.
Nice to see you guys.
You
So since Hearthstone Adventures are in the wild format, and as more and more cards are released and more tools are released for players to use, do you think that you're eventually going to reach a point, or maybe have already reached a point, where it becomes impossible for you guys to balance the heroic bosses to a sufficient difficulty?
Well, there's a lot of different tools we have in balancing the heroic bosses. The nice thing about having 2 different difficulties is we can just make them really, really hard if we want to, and maybe it takes you 10 tries to beat it. But people do have very varied collections, right? Whether you own Alexstrasza or some other crazy card, sometimes you just need a whole bunch of Frost Novas or something to beat it. It's different for every player, so it is very challenging for us. We do the best we can. We realize that someone who's an expert at the game and has done a lot of heroic challenges before might beat certain ones easier than others. But for the idea is, what can we make it the most fun for the most different players? And hopefully we're hitting on that with some of our heroic challenges.
Thanks.
Hello. Do you think the increased frequency on the new cards coming out in Arena is causing an undue stress on the power of these cards when they might not actually be that powerful just because they're appearing so frequently?
Right, so when a new set comes out, the chance of cards from that set appearing in Arena is increased by usually around double. So you saw, for example, a lot of Firelands portals. In the last patch, we actually turned that off. So the Karazhan cards in the most recent set are now the same drop rate as all other cards. And that's because we think people had experienced enough of the Karazhan cards and it was time for them to go to like a slightly different format. But as we go forward, and like Young said, we're going to have some new tools over the next year to give us more control over different small changes and maybe even big changes. We'll probably adjust that and keep improving it because it is a concern for us going forward.
Thank you.
Hi, quick question. So why and how did mid-range Shaman become so powerful in Standard? I would love to hear the design perspective on this.
Wait, before you answer that question, I love your outfit. I just want to tell you, you look awesome. It's like an explorer's outfit. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry, was the question why did Paladin and mid-range Shaman?
No, just mid-range Shaman.
Just mid-range Shaman. So we design new cards. We go through a lot of different steps. We evaluate power level. And we know that, hey, Shaman's down here. Where will it be 8 months from now? We're not sure. We design things pretty far in advance. We knew that people wanted Shaman cards. It was one of the memes on the internet. Hey, give us good Shaman cards. It's the worst class. It's been the worst class for so long. So we put some new Shaman cards in. Time passes. The Shaman cards aren't performing well enough. People haven't grabbed onto them. So we put some more in. We're also working really far in advance. And we don't mind, hey, if Shaman goes up to 55%, that's kind of okay because it's been at 45% for a while, right? And that's sort of what you're seeing. You're seeing it spike up. It went up to, something like 57%, and then we changed some Shaman cards, and it went down a little bit. But it's still a very popular deck. But it's actually not that bad when we actually look at the numbers after the nerfs. It's closer to in the 50 to 55 range, which is great. It is very popular though, and that's something that we care about too. It's not just about how much is it actually winning? What does it feel like? Do people think it's the best deck by a lot? Do people play it the most? Fortunately, we got this new set coming out called Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and it's got all kinds of awesome cards and all kinds of classes. And I think that once people start playing with these new priest cards and these new, warrior cards, every class gets some really awesome cards. One of our most exciting sets, in my opinion. I think it'll just change everything. So I'm not too worried right now. But ask me again in 3 months.
Thank you for your perspective.
Yep.
Hey guys. So the question I have for you is, well, there's a bit of a lead up. So historically speaking, we all know that an important part of trading card games is elements of variance and randomness so that a less skilled opponent may occasionally defeat a greater skilled opponent. And what sets Hearthstone apart is a lot of those elements of variance are actually incorporated within the cards themselves. Now, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, from the card pool we've seen so far, it seems to be moving away from that direction of incorporating variants within the cards themselves, and I'm curious what the design rationale is behind that, if that's actually the case.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, variance is really important for collectible card games, for games in general, that each time you play the game, it feels a little different than the last time that you played it. Players play thousands and thousands of games of Hearthstone, and we want that to be a unique experience each time. It's also important that players feel like they have a chance in any game, and variance helps a lot with that. We have variance in that you draw cards, it comes from a deck, there's some amount of variance there, but a lot of the skill in collectible card games, and in Hearthstone in particular, is being able to play around randomness, being able to take randomness into account to play better. So it's true that Mean Streets of Gadgetzan has fewer random cards, especially at this point, than some of our previous sets, and that's intentional. It's important that Hearthstone sets, that expansions and adventures feel different each time. So sometimes control cards are going to be good, sometimes random cards are going to be good, and sometimes we're going to go on the other side of that. Sometimes aggressive cards are going to be good, or mid-range, or totem cards. So there's a ebb and flow in all of the design spaces that we explore, and randomness is definitely one of them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a lot of the reason we, just to follow up on that, leaned into Discover for a lot of our variants here in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, right? It's great to have that moment of, yes, this is random, but I can apply my skill to figure out which card I want. So, yeah, it's awesome.
And one more thing I want to add is, there's 132 cards in the set. So far, we've seen, a handful of them. So if we're, I wouldn't extrapolate, oh, okay, that means all the rest of the cards are going to be like this. I think it's not something we want to do just yet.
Hi, I got a question about the process of card creation. It's kind of a chicken or the egg question. I'm wondering about how the art team cooperates with the design team, and whether or not art comes first and then you design a card around the art, or vice versa. Just wondering how that relationship between the two teams work.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of collaboration. If you guys saw the presentation yesterday, Jamaro Kindred did a lot of the concepting early on for Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. And as we're coming up with ideas both on the art side and the design side, those came together to form new ideas, right? A great example of this is the 3 families. As we decided, oh, we want 3 families, that'll divide perfectly, 9, right? 3 classes each. So then we started exploring, okay, who's their boss? Right? And then start exploring who's a member of that family. So yeah, it's very collaborative, and it worked super well, I think, for Mean Streets.
Thank you.
Hi, I've been playing Blizzard games forever, and really appreciate the work you guys do. I kind of have a twofold question about building communities, and part of it involves the potential tournament system in the game. Are you guys ever going to introduce something like you had in Warcraft 3, where you just log in and, oh, a tournament's coming at 10, play some matches, and maybe if you win enough, you get placed into a little winner's bracket?
Is that the first part of your 2-part question, or those are both parts? Oh, that's the first part. Okay. Yeah. So tournament mode has been something I think we've been kind of talking to community about for a while, and I think there's different aspects of the fantasy to the tournament mode. I think for some players, it's like, hey, I want to get together with 7 of my other friends, and I want to have an 8-player tournament, and I want to see, do a bracket and see who the best player is. That's one type of fantasy. Or it's like, hey, I want to join a random 128-player tournament and kind of spend a day of playing Hearthstone and see if I can come to the top from this specific set of people. That's another type of fantasy. And from other people, it's just like, hey, I want my wins and losses to really matter. For the next 12 games or so, I really want it to be high intensity and feel like whether I win or lose, like, is really significant. So, we've been exploring different aspects of it. With Heroic Tavern Brawl, for instance, we are experimenting with that third kind of fantasy where, like, I'm going to get into the Heroic Tavern Brawl and it's going to be a really intense experience and I'm going to care a lot about whether I win these specific games. So we're going to continue to do explorations like that. Yeah, we would love to continue this dialogue about what the community wants to do with this mode.
You kind of took it where I was headed. I'm a part of a lot of smaller Hearthstone communities. We do a lot of monthly fireside gatherings, things like that. And then I am actually in Team Hearth League, so it's an international online one. I think that smaller communities like this would benefit from an in-client where you can just sign people up by tag and work the bracket together without having to go to Battlefy or Challenge or something like that to keep it organized.
Yeah, totally got it. We're very committed to supporting groups like yours. Thank you so much. I think it really means a lot to us that these grassroots organizations are getting these tournaments together. I think it's really awesome. So that's something we want to continue to support. I think we're going to have a lot of great things to collaborate on through 2017.
Thanks so much.
Hey guys, my question's about Heroic Brawl, and was really excited when you guys announced it. You guys have had to do a lot of work there. When is it coming out? And with all the work you've had to do, it's hard for me to believe that you would throw it away after 1 week. What is that leading to?
One of the great things about Brawls are that we can get it out there and see how the community reacts to it and how it really feels once it's in the hands of the players. So, we haven't announced when we're going to do it, but we're ready to go. We're very excited to do it very soon. But let's see how it feels together. We're learning as you guys are learning. As you guys experience it and give us feedback, it will help us inform what we want to do with it next.
Okay.
Hi guys. For all the players that have 9 golden heroes, hit legend, got 12 arena wins, do you guys have any plans for future achievements or goals that can be reached? And if so, what are you guys thinking of as far as, ideas for that?
So one option on the stage to our right is the World Championship that's happening right now. So that's a pretty high goal, but yeah, we're always talking about what are things we can do for our most invested players, how can we create additional things for you to achieve and for you to accomplish. But really, if you're on that top tier level, competing in something like the Heroic Tavern Brawl or starting on the road to the World Championship are possibilities right now.
All right. There's no ideas, not saying it's going to happen or it's not going to happen, but like a platinum hero or just anything that you guys have.
Yeah. That's something we've talked about before. It's something that's requested by the 1/10 of 1% or whatever it is, and a fair number of the designers also play way too much and have these things. So it's something that we personally want, but we haven't figured out what the best idea is yet or anything like that. But it is something we do think about. Yeah, but we really want to celebrate players like you who are obviously, awesome. It's definitely something we talk about. We don't have anything else to announce right now, but we have you in mind. And thank you for enjoying the game so much. That's really incredible.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Been playing over 3 years. It's awesome. I appreciate all the hard work you do.
No, thank you. Thank
we love players like you. Everybody else too.
Hi guys. So sometimes when I want to read a bit more about the game, I find myself having to go to the communities of the game. And I'm a developer as myself, so the amount of misinformation and mischaracterization of developers can be a bit overwhelming, at least to me. There's definitely been times where I felt like if I go on our Hearthstone, the prevalent opinion is that you guys are Hitler, but dumber. And not everyone, but there are posts being upvoted that seem to indicate that. And it's just flat out wrong, right? So I was just kind of wondering, how do you guys deal with when there's a lot of negative community feedback that isn't really accurate or isn't really representative of what you guys actually do? And like, what's the general strategy for like dealing with the community?
So a lot of that community feedback that we're getting comes from a place of passion. People don't talk about Hearthstone because they don't care about it. They talk about it because they love it, because they play lots and lots of games and they feel really good about it. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I've always read Reddit posts that said horrible things about me personally or about my friends or my colleagues and was always happy. But we do understand that that comes from a place of passion, from a place where these people really care about our game. So that's great, and we get lots of great feedback from the community. There are great ideas that come out. It also helps us prioritize what we want to work on. If our community cares about particular things, then those are things that we should invest time and effort in. It's important to know, too, that our community is Reddit. It is the people on Twitter. It is the people contacting us. But it's also millions and millions of other players that play more casually that don't engage with us on social media or on those forums. So it's important for us to keep that in mind as well.
Cool. And also to clarify, like, I think you guys are cool, all right? So like.
Thanks. We think you're cool too.
Yeah. I mean, overall, like, we have so much love for all of our players, and I know I've been on the other side too. Like, I wasn't always making, I wasn't always a developer, and when I was on the other side of the fence, like, if I can't log into the realm I want to log into because I want to play this game so much, I get very upset, and then if I don't take a step back and just start typing on a forum or something, I might end up saying something I don't necessarily want to say. So again, we know that it comes from a good place. Like, you love playing Hearthstone, and you have a lot of ideas you want to share with us. I think the feelings that you're feeling is something that we really want to recognize, and we pay really good attention to that. Like, why does this person feel so angry? What can we do to help with that?
Hi. So some of my friends and I, we used to use the original iteration of the autofill deck creator for our own game mode, because sometimes it can be really fun to play with terrible decks that are really suboptimal, and that's also the easiest way of making a new deck at like 3 a.m. when you want to play around but don't want to think about deck creation. So I think a lot of people miss that option. Are there any plans on bringing it back?
Tavern Brawl's one of the places that we explore that, and letting you play Tavern Brawls against each other is great. There's other possibilities for making deck building a little bit easier, being able to generate a pseudo-random deck like that, but I don't think we have any plans right now to bring back a worse deck building assistant. The new things that we've done to help new players build decks are really important for bringing them into the game. They have the deck templates, and now the assistant to help construct their deck, to finish off their deck, is more helpful. It will actually build them a reasonable deck that they can compete with and they can play games and enjoy. And it is a little bit sad that we took away a game mode that people like you, and we've gotten this feedback before, that those people enjoy, but it's coming from a good place. It's really important that we help these newer players. And we hope that you can find things like Tavern Brawl or possibly other game modes that we introduce in the future to fill that niche.
Do a follow-up? Well then, do you have any plans on making it easier for us to export our collections so that we could come up with our own way of coming up with using a third-party resource to create that?
We do talk about ways to export your decks that you've built, to import decks that you built from somewhere else, or to export your collection, so it's a little bit easier for you to track and create decks and transfer them to your friends. You build some cool Reno Mage deck and you want to send it to somebody, it would be nice if there was an easier way for them to put it in. So that's definitely something that we talk about, but we don't have any plans to announce right now. Personally, I'd love to get that in. I build a lot of decks.
I think everybody on this stage would really like to have that, so, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Thanks.
Hi again. This time I want to talk about, I want to ask something about tournaments. Because we all know that coming into the next year, Blizzard is going to have a lot of official tournaments in mind that's going to be, shared with us. But on the other hand, right now, what we're seeing in this community is that a lot of third-party game tournament organizers are facing a lot of issues that prevents them from organizing stuff, things about money, about viewership, about profit, blah, blah, blah. So I want to know that going into the next year, are you guys, is this the reason that you guys want to, just go in by yourself and do more of that, officially instead of by the third parties?
No, not at all. I think diversity of tournaments out there is very important to Hearthstone. I think there are a lot of different tournaments that are out there that are still going very strong for Hearthstone, and we're going to continue to support third parties that want to have their own formats and want to have their own types of tournaments. What we're doing next year with 2017 Heroic Championship Tour, and then on top of that, some of the other programs we're running, like the Hearthstone Global Games, etc., is supposed to augment what we already have and make it more awesome. It's not in response to us feeling like there is, us feeling like we need to go our own way. Especially for something like Hearthstone Global Games, we learn a lot from what the community is doing, and some of the community tournaments have been in team format. So instead of like a 1v1 format, which we focused on at the highest level for the championship tour, with the global games, we're going to be focusing on a 4v4 team-based format. So things like that I think is really interesting. I think that the fact that those teams are going to be representing a specific country is going to be interesting. And we're doing these things because I think players want to see a lot of cool content like this. So we're all about different ways to play Hearthstone and then different ways to kind of view Hearthstone. And we just want to make more of it.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. We are here being the voice of Latin America, and I have 3 words for you. Nosotros amamos Hearthstone. We love Hearthstone.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And our country is, yes.
Oh, very
Awesome. That's sweet.
Actually, I have a question from a guy from Mexico, which is expert in Hearthstone. He plays a lot, and this is there you go. Are you into the tempo-based state that Hearthstone is in right now, with little ways to come back into games? And are you willing to put in more tempo swing cards and/or efficient AOE to have a more dynamic game?
I think that efficient AOE is really important to have game swings. Games going back and forth can be really fun. We've shown already one really big, powerful AOE, the Dragonfire Potion that Priest gains, and I think that'll show something that we're willing to experiment more in that direction. And as time goes by, you'll see more of that. Our legendary Kazakus also has the option, when you create your own custom spell, to pick one of the AOEs. You could either turn the whole board into sheep or deal 6 damage to the whole board if you pick the 10 mana spell, or maybe something else. So I think that it is really important to have tempo swings. Hopefully we'll do more of that in the future.
It's also really important as Hearthstone goes forward to have ebbs and flows. So right now there's a little bit less AoE. After Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, there's going to be a bit more. And as time goes on, different strategies become good, different strategies become bad. And it's important that Hearthstone keeps feeling fresh.
Muchas gracias. Keep it up the good work.
Thank you so much.
De nada.
Hey there. I've been playing a game for a while, and I want to say I really love it. I was playing other different TCGs before I came to Hearthstone, and one of the things that makes the game unique is the class structure, which is kind of borrowed over from World of Warcraft. But do you think that the amount of power that each class derives from its own individual cards kind of informs the way that players think about the different power levels between the classes? For example, do you think that they expect every class to kind of have its own, top-tier deck? Do you think that they bring over this feeling that everything should be balanced and then see it as a real negative when they aren't? And going back with that in mind, do you think there's anything you would have changed to kind of alter that perception?
I think that having, like Peter said, an ebb and flow of which decks are strong is really important, and I think we're seeing a lot of that. Right now, Paladin's one of the weaker classes, or most people perceive it to be one of the weaker classes, but a year ago, Paladin was the most complained about class. So you get some kind of ebb and flow. Shaman has done that. A lot of classes have done that. But it's also nice to have a few classes that are close together. It's something that we'd like to see a lot of. As long as different classes have their time to shine, and different play styles, more importantly, have their time to shine. I like, for example, playing control decks, but I don't mind if I play a priest control deck, a mage control deck, or a paladin control deck. And sometimes I'm in the mood to play an aggro deck, but I don't necessarily mind that much which class is playing that deck. It's just that there's an option available to me as a Hearthstone player that fits my play style.
Thanks.
Forgive me if this has already been answered in a panel, but I'm curious if the three families in Gadget Stand is your answer to having neutral spell cards in the game.
Before we answer that, I think your cosplay is fantastic. Are you Brave Archer?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I'm a little worried to answer because I feel like if I give the wrong answer, she's going to shoot me from where she is.
Yeah, actually our goal for the tri-class cards was to make it feel like you're playing that family, right? So for the goons, when you sign up for Hunter, Paladin, or Warrior, not only are you playing that class, but you're also getting to play the unique new strategies that represent the goons. So that was our goal with the tri-class cards. And I'm super excited as we start revealing these cards over the next months for you guys to see more of specifically how each family plays. I think it'll be pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
Hey, again, I'm really curious to know if there's any plan for sideboards, and like, I feel like sideboarding is really interesting, certainly at a certain level of play where maybe we could like have 5 cards, we could swap and predefined, and like, as soon as the game starts, we know the hero, and we decide, hey, it's a warlock, maybe I need a bit more of this, it's a priest, and maybe I need a bit more of that. And I feel it would really help the whole aggro being a pain to deal with, because if there's a sideboard, there's going to be more skill to aggro, and right now I feel aggro is probably the most irritating thing to play against because you're just like, oh, he's going to beat me up, I'm not going to do anything, and it feels so powerful. But having sideboards make me feel like we're going to have more power to deal with them, and aggro will also have more power to, you know, adapt to what it's playing to. I feel it's going to be a bit more healthy. I don't know, but
I think sideboards are a cool idea. It's something that I was used to having from other card games. Maybe it's a specific thing that we could try out in a tavern brawl or something. That one of the things I've noticed in Hearthstone is people bring a variety of decks, and that performs a little bit like a sideboard because you'll say, hey, I have to play against this control warrior, I'm not going to pick my freeze mage, maybe I'll pick something else. So there's some give and take there, but maybe sideboards is a cool idea for tavern brawl. I'll mention it to the tavern brawl guy when I get back to work, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my question's about maybe creating like a custom built or a way to build a custom deck for the AI. Like, so if you run into a certain kind of deck that you're really struggling to beat, you could kind of practice and see like weaknesses in your own decks to kind of work through it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea, having a way to play against a specific deck. I've certainly simulated that sometimes by saying, hey, Matt, can you build this deck so I can try this against it, and we'll just play a bunch of games. But Matt's better than the AI, so it's hard to...
I wish.
Yeah, maybe find someone to play against, post on Reddit, say, hey, I want to try it out. Just anybody, a really good handlock player, I want to play against handlock 100 times or something. See if you can come up with that. We don't have any plans to put it in right now, but if a lot of people ask for it, I'm sure it's something we could do.
Kind of follow up, do you think it would be possible to adjust the AI intelligence to like see, like if that were something that we could put into the game to kind of read what cards are in the deck and kind of figure out the play style of that deck?
Yeah, I mean, so I think our AI system in general is an area that we could potentially invest more time in. I think if we were to kind of want to let the AI have an arbitrary deck and you want it to be a meaningful training partner with you, I think we would invest more in the AI system for that. So that's one of the possible ways we could be investing our resources in the future, and it's something we do talk about. So thank you for your feedback.
Thanks.
Hi, I had a question about engineering and how it interfaces with design. As the game gets more complicated over time, more mechanics and cards and things like that, that tends to make things more complicated. and can get messy. So is that a challenge for you, and how do you overcome it?
It's both a challenge and an opportunity. Personally, I think if we go to that first engineering meeting where we show them all the cards and they don't freak out a little bit, we haven't really done our job. So tri-class cards is a good example from Mean Streets of Gadget Stand of something that was difficult on the engineering side. It's something where the system internally was just built assuming cards had a class, rather than being able to ask, is this card a rogue card? Is this card a not rogue card? That's just not something we could do. So that was something that was difficult for us to do. Honestly, though, engineering has never really limited our design space. It's very, very rare that we go to engineering and we say, we want to make this card, and they say, we can't do that. Our engineers are excellent, and they've done a fantastic job every time of coming up with a way to do it. Every once in a great while, a card will get pushed back a little bit, but even that's incredibly rare.
It's also fun when you come up with an idea, share it with an engineer, and they're like, wow, that's so cool. I have no idea how to do that, but that's really neat.
Yeah, one of the things I love about working at Blizzard is all the different teams are like rock star level. So if I just do my design job, I know the engineers will take care of it. I know the artists will make it look awesome. I know the animators will make it have an awesome animation. The sound guys will make it sound awesome. All the teams just deliver on like A+ level, and that's really nice. So we don't really have any, it makes our risk with the engineers much lower.
Yeah, it's all about communication. We have our designers sitting in this one area, and the gameplay engineers are sitting literally like next to them. So I see all the time guys like Dean, he's working on something, and he's like, hey, like, I want to do this crazy thing. What do you think, Josh? And Josh is one of our gameplay engineers, and he'd be like, oh, wow, that's crazy, but awesome. And then they would start working on it together. So I think the fact that everybody on the team is really committed, like we all love Hearthstone, we're all committed to making it awesome, allows us to collaborate together, not just as like, I'm designer, I'll give you a spec and sign my name on it, and now the engineer is just going to do exactly what it says. Like, that's not at all the way we work. It's all about, hey, I'm going to get you excited about this card. It's a really cool idea. Hey, Young, I'm going to come over to your desk and say, we're going to make the players make their own cards. And then I'm going to stare at you because you're crazy for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I go, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we work on it together. So thanks for the question. I think, yeah, it's a wonderful team to work on.
Great. Thank you.
It's me again. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I don't miss this question that's most frequently asked in our Chinese community. It's about Taramde. So, like, have you guys figured out like how to release the skin in other places of the world, and also, going to future skins, like when are like Druid or Warlock, like these kind of hero get their own alternative skin?
Yeah, so first of all, we're very interested in getting an alternate hero for all of the classes. So that's something we're going to be continuing to do. We make these heroes available in different ways. And sometimes we make them available in one way, and then we also do other things to make them available to a different subgroup of the population. Like Medivh is a very good example. So Medivh is available in the store, but we also did a thing, for instance, when you get the Warcraft movie DVD, like maybe there's like a promotion that's included with that, and that's another way you could obtain the hero. So we're thinking of a lot of different creative ways to get these heroes out, working with partners that are really good for the community. Like Twitch, I think, is really awesome for the community. It's one of the great ways for you to kind of view streamers and kind of pro Hearthstone gameplay. So we're going to continue to do that. So Tyrande specifically in China, that's something we are definitely working on. So don't feel too left out for now, please. We're working on it.
Okay, we hope that we can hear from you soon about the good news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Fabulous Four.
Wow.
So we have an abundance of riches with cards. I definitely have my favorites, Anoyatron, Ragnaros.
Hello, hello, hello.
Is there any thought to changing the interface to allow us to maybe group some of the cards or favorite some of the cards so that as we're creating new decks, we can pick from our favorites?
That's funny. I literally had that conversation with somebody like a week or two ago, where it would be really nice to be able to reorganize your collection the way that you would like, to be able to both make it easier to find your favorite cards, but also to build decks in ways that are a little bit more convenient. We have lots of cards now. I mean, personally, my collection, I have lots and lots of cards. I love getting Hearthstone cards. And so it'd be nice to be able to find ways to reshuffle that and to make the collection manager a bit easier to access and a bit better for that purpose. So yeah, favoriting cards I literally just talked about, I think it would be really cool. We don't have any plans right now, but collection manager and looking at understanding what we can do to make that part of the game better for players is something that we're very passionate about.
Cool, thank you very much.
Hey guys, hey y'all.
Hello.
Really enjoyed the opening ceremonies the other day and of course the Hearthstone yesterday. My question is for new players. So I do a lot of fireside gatherings and helping out with that situation. And we have a lot of people coming in or coming over and asking, what's going on over here? Oh, it's Hearthstone. Well, how do I play? How do I get into this competitive tournament that you have going on during your fireside? Make a battle.net account, go through the tutorial, you know, and they find themselves sitting in front of a computer or in front of a laptop all alone for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, we're over here in the fireside gathering playing. I want to know if you guys had any ideas or plans for the new player experience at those fireside gatherings or just new player experience in general.
Yeah, new player experience is something that we care about a lot. One of our designers actually really focused on that a good amount of her time. And she's actually my sister. She used to work on another team and she joined us. So super awesome. So yeah, new player experience is definitely something we focus on. Specifically for some of these like Tavern Brawl related use case is something we are very excited to make better. So it's like, hey, I'm a new player. I want to join your Tavern Brawl and have fun with you right away. That's definitely a use case that we're actively looking at right now. So no, thanks for the feedback. It really kind of validates our prioritization for that. And you know, we're going to be working on that through 2017.
Awesome. Thank you, Young. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
I love your podcast.
Legendoftheinnkeeper.com. 2.5 years going now. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate what you guys do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, guys. A couple of my favorite brawls were the PvE team-up brawls like Nefarian Rise Against Mechazod and Nefarian. But some of the older tabletop TCGs that I've played give you a chance to have like 3 or 4 people play against one boss. I know you have the iconic Hearthstone player-facing player. That's kind of maybe a limiting design factor, but is there any chance in the future, is it so out of the blue that you could have 2 or 3 people, like maybe a tank healer and a range class or a couple multi-classes against one big boss?
It's like, oh, I want to talk about this.
Yeah,
This is so fun.
that sounds
Pretty awesome. The trading card game. In the World of Warcraft one?
Yeah, the trading card game, also the MMO is pretty cool.
I've played that one before, once or twice.
I love that idea. I think the nice thing about the one that we did, the Tavern Brawl that we did, is we used the tools that we had and the interface that we could manage, like on a phone and on an iPad and so on. But I think once we've done that, people have showed a lot of interest, and we'll keep experimenting more in that direction. Probably small steps, see what we can do.
That's all I can ask for. Thank you.
One more question.
Hey
This
guys,
is the
how are
last
you
one,
doing?
by the way.
That's fine. So my question was regarding esports and ACT in general. With the growing push in 2017 and the competitive scene, what are you guys thinking to do, if possible, if anything, for a more physical event similar to what we're experiencing here at BlizzCon and over on the world stage? Are you guys looking to do more in-person events and pushing the esports and kind of further pushing the community aspect in general?
Yeah, so there's a lot of plans right now to leverage, you know, the Tavern Heroes model to kind of have these local Tavern Brawls feed into the HCT. And we did some of that in 2016. We're going to do, you know, even more of that in 2017. So we want these. Sorry, did I say Tavern Brawl? I meant fireside gathering. So yeah, so we really want these fireside gatherings to be these like local mini BlizzCons in your local community, and that's an angle we're going to push very hard.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's all the time we have for questions today, but thank you guys so much for coming.
Yeah.
We
Thanks.
love seeing all the passion. We love seeing the community, and enjoy the rest of your BlizzCon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for attending